Welcome to Kingdom Training Level 2, the 6 Foundational Studies to Become a Disciple. This is going to be Class 1, where we're going to talk about the word study. But before we get into the word study, we're going to start off, and the first 10 minutes here is going to be our study thought for the moment. So all the study thoughts have to do with really helping us to be able to study the Bible with people more effectively. The first thought that we're going to start off here with is the thought of connecting with people through friendship. So if you have a Bible, open it up to 1 John chapter 2. And we'll start here. We'll look at Jesus' example, because that's really who we're trying to be like. We're trying to be like Jesus. And in 1 John chapter 2, starting in verse 3 through 6, it says, "We know that we have come to know him if we obey his commands. The man who says, 'I know him,' but does not do what he commands is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But if anyone obeys his word, God's love is truly made complete in him. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must walk as Jesus did." And this is really what we're talking about as far as being like Jesus and connecting with people through friendships. We're trying to ultimately be like Jesus. We must walk as Jesus walked. And we're going to look at a lot of examples here of how Jesus walked and how he really went after building great friendships with people and impacting people through those friendships. Christianity in general is all about being like Jesus, and it's learning about Jesus, growing and imitating Jesus more, becoming more and more and more like Jesus. That's maturing. Let's turn over to Matthew chapter 11 to get another example from Jesus' life here. So Matthew chapter 11, verse 19. It says, "The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, 'Here's a glutton and a drunkard, a friend of tax collectors and sinners.' But wisdom is proved right by her actions." So in this effort to be more and more like Jesus, we see here that Jesus was described as someone who was a friend to tax collectors and sinners. Now, not everyone we know is a tax collector, but everyone we know is a sinner. And there's no problem at all, and it's actually encouraged of us to be friends with sinners. We can relate because we're all coming from the same background. We're not above anyone else. But Jesus was a friend of sinners, and that means that he is willing to be our friend. And that also means we need to be willing to be the friends of other people as well. When you think about friends, friends really care about each other. They care about us. We think, man, that's my friend. And he or she really cares about me. That's my friend. They're concerned and they have my best interest in mind. A friend is someone who will be there for you when you need them. All these aspects are aspects of friendships. That's what Jesus wanted to be to the people around him, and that's what we're called to be to the people around us. Now, just thinking about Jesus was a fun kind of guy. He took a lot of field trips and fun trips with his disciples. They went hiking. They went up on a mountain and they hiked up and spent the night out there. Went camping. They did bring tents, but God did some miraculous things up there. They also went to dinner parties together. Jesus, being the popular guy that he was invited to a lot of people's homes, and they would go to these dinner parties together. They even went to weddings together. And it was awesome because at the end, they ran out of wine, and Jesus brought the best wine in the end. So Jesus was just a fun guy. They went fishing together. Whether it was late night or early in the morning, he was like, "Hey, let's throw out the nets." Jesus even cooked them breakfast one morning. Jesus and the guys went sailing. Jesus, he even went water skiing. He didn't have a boat. He didn't have skis. He didn't have a motor. but he went water skiing. He was walking on water there. But Jesus was a guy who knew how to have fun. He was fun to be around. And as we're going after becoming more and more like Jesus, we need to learn how to be, and we need to become more and more those funsy kinds of people. He was a guy that knew that bonding together takes building memories together. You may not realize, but how a person feels about you is largely based on the memories that they have with you or of you. So we have to really think about that, and how do other people view us? Are we viewed as this serious person that always has these serious conversations to say or whatever? Or do people see us, man, I just love being around this person. And yeah, I know they're religious, I know they go to church, but that's fun. That's fine because we have so much fun together, and I know they care about me. But that's the kind of impression that we want to make sure that we leave with people, because that's the impression that Jesus left. Jesus was also a teacher. So he was a funsy guy, but Jesus was also a teacher. He would do it publicly in the temple courts or in synagogues. He would also do it privately in one-on-one conversations. Now, all of us, we're not everyone is called to public teaching, but all of us for sure are called to private teaching. The teaching one-on-one with our friends or with our neighbors or people that we meet and are developing friendships with. So we all are called to teach in some capacity. Another thing here is we're surrounded by a bunch of just different cultures. That's what's amazing about the Northern Virginia area. But with that blessing comes, a difficulty, and that it calls us higher in needing to relate to people, and we need to learn and become better and better at being able to find out where people are coming from because of the different backgrounds. And there needs to be that place to start, finding out where they come from, the commonality, and then really going from there of introducing them to Jesus and Jesus to them. Now, we have lots of studies, on Jesus. We can study evidences. We can study where the Bible comes from. So there's a lot of things that we can use and ways to get people into the scriptures. But it always starts off with Jesus. And that's what's amazing, is Jesus is able to relate to anyone, any background, any culture, at any time. Now me, I've not lived in a bunch of different parts of the world. But coming to George Mason was really cool, is because you meet a ton of people with a lot of different backgrounds. And, for example, I've shared my faith with probably one of the whitest people I thought I saw, and then only to come to find out as I talked to them that, they were a devout Muslim, and it's just like, wow, I didn't expect that, But and one of my friends, when I first got to George Mason, was from a Hindu background. So we need to learn to really be able to relate to all these different people of different backgrounds. But no matter who we're talking to, Jesus changes people. I think of two particular campus students. First of all, I think of Juan Villanueva. He was really, when we met on campus, he was really had a Catholic background turned atheist, or agnostic, really. He got into Buddhism and meditation and things like that. And, but introducing him to Jesus changed things. Jesus changed his mentality about life and about a lot of things. And not only did he become a disciple, now he's one of our interns in the church here in the campus ministry. Also think of Jameson Hicks. He was just super religious. Everything that came out of his mouth was just, kind of some kind of cool saying or whatever. But then he came face to face with Jesus. And Jesus changes people. And Jesus changed Jameson from kind of religious talk to having his life match the doctrine. And then there was me of a different background. But the whole point, kingdom training is we're talking about connecting with people in a lot of different ways. This first way was talking about friendship. And then we're going to get into the Bible studies. And we're going to learn really how to study the Bible with people effectively. for a lot of us, we already know how to study the Bible with people. So what this will really be is adding on to that knowledge and really learning how to study the Bible with people better. Some of us, we don't know how to study the Bible. So this will be a learning time for you to learn really how to study the Bible. And then some of us, we've known how to study the Bible. There's some confidence there, but we've gotten out of the habit of doing it. And the point of this class is to really get us going again. So we're everyone at the end of the day is either going to get better at studying the Bible, or we're going to get studying the Bible again, with people. So that concludes kind of the first thought. Once again, we talked about connecting with people, but in particular, connecting with people through friendships, and that's what it takes of being like Jesus. Now we'll pause for a second, and then we will get into the word study, which is our first study for the first class. So there you go.